You know what? We got to do a Christmas opener this week.
That's right. This is the last episode before Christmas.
This episode will go up on Christmas. Because Christmas is... Is that a Japanese Christmas song?
Dude, you don't know Padoru Padoru?
I don't. I will admit that.
Dude, you don't know Padoru? That's the Nero thing where she's like going around singing that, and then everyone copies that. You know, it's like you've seen someone Padoru an anime character where they look like a little Santa.
I have.
Yeah, but that's the song she's singing. It's like Nero walking down the hallway going Padoru Padoru.
You know, I'm not as into the Christmas stuff. I think that's my downfall. That's why that particular meme just hasn't reached me.
You're not a big enough otaku.
I put up my Christmas barrier. I put up my spectral Christmas barrier, and it just stops all things Christmas from reaching me.
Padoru, motherfucker.
Padoru, motherfucker. Can we get that edit where we Padoru Sergeant Dokes? Can we get that? Can someone do that for us, please? That would be dope as shit.
Yeah, he just pops up out of nowhere. Padoru, motherfucker.
Padoru, motherfucker. Anyway, Merry Chrysler.
Merry Christmas.
That's a Christmas meme I do know. Happy Christmas. Merry Chrysler. It's one of my favorite Christmas memes because it's the only one I know.
I don't know that one.
It's a Vine.
Oh,
it's a Vine thing.
Normie memes.
Vine is dead. Can we call it a normie meme? Because it's been dead for so long.
It's true, like but when it was around, it was for normies.
That's true. But at this point, it's a necro meme.
Now it's just a millennial meme.
I'm a necro memer. I bring back dead memes with my powers of necro memesy. I've done it.
Anyway, this is the special Christmas episode, but it's just a regular episode.
This is a regular episode that we have dubbed the special Christmas special.
And hopefully there's no tech problems. I didn't realize there were tech problems until you uploaded the episode, and I'm like, oh, he had to put like a preamble about that.
I did. I listened to the audio and I was like, oh, something must have gone wrong when I downloaded it. And then I downloaded it again, and then I put it into my special editing software. That shit was just there on the recording. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I didn't like it. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, because I edited out a lot of shit. That was an intensive one.
Make sure you do for the image this week. Just do like a really like Japanese looking Christmas. Do like a Tokyo Christmas tree or something.
Yeah, I want to see if I can find something like snowy or Christmassy. Something like that.
Or just some KFC. That's Japanese Christmas too.
Or KFC. You know what? I will Photoshop a Padoru Colonel Sanders next to a Japanese Christmas tree.
I don't believe you'll do it, but...
I won't.
Yeah.
I will forget about that, and then I'll go to edit this episode, and I'll listen to myself say that, and I'll think about it.
That's too much work.
And then I will think about that and be like, that's too much. I care. I don't care that much.
Yeah. Like whenever I say I'm going to add something in, back when I was doing the editing, I'm like, I'm not going to add that in.
I'm not going to do that. That's more work for me. Why would I do that?
The only episodes that get significant portion of editing are just like the award episodes. And even then, I stopped putting in the music because it kept getting us copyright strikes. And I'm like, it's not even 10 seconds.
Yeah, that shit sucks. I wish we could, because, like, I don't know, it would be nice to have an audio basis for people instead of just being like, here, look this shit up. It's good. Trust us.
Yeah, I thought you could do 30 seconds, but I guess you can't. I don't know. Screw copyright. Screw Walt Disney.
Screw Walt Disney, dude. I hope that bitch stays on ice forever.
I hope they lose the head. They just can't find it one day. They're like, where did we put it?
We had it. Tom said he was going to put it in his freezer because the cryogenics chamber went down.
I hope they
during
lose
that
it.
riot.
And it's like one of those things where you you lose like something and then you find it later and you're like, oh, it's gone bad. I can smell it from here.
Ugh.
And it's just Walt Disney's rotten head.
Walt Disney's rotten head. There we have it. In the first couple minutes, we have the episode title. It's never been so easy.
It really is that easy. It's just that easy. Just like hacking in Akudama Drive, our first show.
Yes. I guess you just...
You go down a long tunnel.
This is the second episode of one of our shows this season where someone does like one of those personal hacking sequences where it's like, I gotta swim through the fucking cyber internet highway and grab things. Except it's sadder than that.
I don't think hacking always needs to be like a visual. I don't think you always need a big visual representation for hacking. Let it just be hacking.
Let it just be hacking. I think it's necessary.
Do hacking, but the more like interesting way. Like just show what people actually do for hacking. Just be like, all right, I'm hacking in. All right, don't you have to hit a lot of those keys? No, I set the process. It's gonna do some automated. It's gonna do some automated brute forcing. While that's going on, we got about at least a solid 2 hours of this. So I'm gonna go get some coffee.
Yeah, I ordered some DoorDash. So like, let me know if the worm I uploaded comes back early for whatever reason, but like I'm just gonna grab my DoorDash and have a snack.
Yeah, if anything pops up on that screen, just let me know. But other than that, we got a little bit. I'm just gonna go watch The Phantom Menace.
They uploaded, or they put Forged in Fire on Netflix. You guys hear about that? I'm gonna go watch some of that. I got my data worm working away at the system. I'm just gonna go watch some Forged in Fire. That show is freaking great, dude.
And that's hacking.
And that's hacking, but not in Akudama Drive.
Yeah, so apparently Kanto, everybody uploaded themselves to the cloud.
It's the Matrix.
Yeah, and it starts out with Swindler and Courier are trapped in the Matrix, but the Matrix is letting them live their happiest lives, which isn't even that happy. With like, at least with Courier, he gets to be with, I'm assuming that's his mom who got killed. So he's with his mom, and then Swindler gets to leave work early.
Swindler's
that's her happiest memories.
I kind of really relate to like how sad that is, where the best version of your life is, man, I get to leave work on time today. How great is that?
And I get to cook myself dinner because I think I have the ingredients in the fridge. It's like that's the best it's gonna get. This is your personal paradise.
Welcome to Cyberpunk. Something so mundane is this person's best life.
Yeah.
But it fucks up. The system fucks up because they encounter digitized versions of themselves in the cloud. Or digitized versions of each other in the cloud.
But because of that, they realize that the other one is acting off, which helps them break out of it.
Yeah, the digital courier doesn't even say shit once.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, they speak a lot more vulgar than this.
That is not even close to how they talk. Something is fishy here.
Yep, but they break out of that, and they're on the Shinkansen, and Courier, or Hacker, which we knew the whole time was still actively controlling his little drone thing. And he's like, hey, you guys are both awake.
And he basically... He explains.
He does all the exposition for a little bit. So he makes a hologram of himself and goes, yeah, so this is Kanto, and they step out, and Kanto is just a bunch of floating buildings like the Tokyo Tower and stuff in this weird void space.
It's fucked.
And then this morphing supercomputer just floating around in the middle.
It looks kind of neat. It's just like he explains it's a quantum supercomputer.
Yeah, and everybody from Kanto has digitized themselves, but the computer's hardware is breaking down, so their solution to that is to put themselves inside two immortal children as like the cloud, essentially.
Which is something I don't personally understand, because like, are hundreds of thousands of people just going to live as two children? Or are they just like...
maybe they're living inside two children, but even regardless, they're like, oh yeah, they can never die and stuff. Wouldn't it be... I feel like there's more solid things you could use as a base than just two kids who can't be stabbed or shot.
Yeah, because like they haven't done the aging test, right? We still don't know if it's only theoretical at this point that they
I mean,
won't
I'm
die
assuming
of
they
old
don't
age.
age, but then at the same time, I'm thinking like, I don't know, there are some metals out there that will probably like well last past the point of like an asteroid hitting the planet and knocking everything into space.
Yeah, because what do you do if that happens? They do the cars thing. Eventually, they just stop thinking.
Yeah. But I guess, yeah, they're going to get downloaded onto these kids. But Swindler doesn't like that, of course, so she starts trying to fly up and save them, but there's a force field around it. And you could tell what's sort of like, because every time she falls down, you see all these metal rods just sticking out. I'm like, oh, she's going to get impaled.
It's like there's a scene in Ready or Not, a movie that is very good and I would recommend. But there's a scene where the main character is climbing out of this basically pit. And at the top of the pit, the camera keeps cutting back to this huge nail sticking out of it. And you know what's going to happen. And it happens. But not this time.
Yeah,
Not this
because
time.
Hacker saves her, and he's like, listen, you can't get there from here. But
Which I don't know why that wasn't the first thing they suggested,
no,
since, you know,
he said that to her, but she was just like still running at it. Courier even tries shooting it, and nothing happens. But then Hacker does his deep dive hack thing. He's like, I'm in Kanto, so that means I can help you. And then the hacking sequence is just him flying through a tunnel. Well,
and
a bunch
getting,
of video game shit flies at him.
yeah, and it hits him and it shreds the shit out of him.
And he does his like Hacker, like, this is the greatest game, a game that can finally entertain me thing.
Well, it's the last entertainment he ever gets.
Yep, and he's almost there, but it looks like the firewall is too strong. But then all the spirit of the dead children show up into cyberspace and or help him and push him towards them at the end so he can free the kids.
Yes.
Weird, but sure, whatever.
I also did not understand this segment very well, but that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're moving on.
The kids get freed, and Hacker basically sacrificed everything for that, but he was able to get the Shinkansen able to send them back.
And he also gave Swindler some coordinates, and he was like, this is a place that I found that's off the grid. Go there and it'll be great. So Swindler is like, okay, dude. And then Hacker dies.
It's probably just going to be some other Japanese province that's like, wait, there are more than Kansai and Kanto?
And they're going to be like, yeah, dude, we've been sitting over here all the time.
This place is called Saga.
And then it's full of zombies.
Yeah, but they end up leaving, and everything seems good, and we have one more episode left, so I'm pretty sure Courier's not going to make it to the end.
Probably not.
But
Courier seems pretty passive.
But yeah, I guess Hacker's dead now because everyone seems like they got to die.
Part of me wonders. There's part of me that wonders, because when she's looking at her digital like phone thing, you see Hacker's icon in the lower corner, and she's like, "What's this?" And there's a little part of my brain that's like, I hope they don't, but I swear to God, if Hacker copied his consciousness onto her phone before going off and getting fucking killed, I swear, don't put me through this Akudama Drive.
That's probably going to be the Deus Ex plot device when it's like, oh, all hope is lost. The executioners are going to kill us. What does this button do?
And then Hacker comes out, and turns out he downloaded everyone's consciousness. And now all the digitized versions of the crew come out, and then everyone fights, and everyone has a good time. And there's an Avengers moment where they all charge at the same time. And Doctor is also there, but she's not evil this time.
I don't know. I don't think like the group should get back together, considering Doctor and Cutthroat were just not good people.
Yeah, I don't think any of that shit should happen.
In fact, Hacker, Hoodlum are really the only decent ones.
Yeah, but the train. We also get a shot where the train blows up because they shoot the train.
Yep, they blow up the Shinkansen, and it looks like the person who's ordering the attack is Eye Patch Girl.
Yeah, but we know they're not dead because there's one episode left. And like, come on. Can't be pulling that shit in episode 11 expecting me to be also just like, oh, what happened? They're not on that train.
I'm going to be honest. Nothing on our list has really like extremely impressed me this season. Like, because I feel like this episode was just kind of okay. I don't know. I felt like Kanto being what it was kind of disappointing. I'm like, oh, it's just the whole digitized world thing.
Yeah.
It's like they uploaded their consciousness. I'm like, of course they did.
This was definitely, I feel like it's petering out a little bit. You know, I really hope that the next episode really pulls it together, but it definitely felt like they were petering out a little bit with this one. Like, I don't know, and then Kanso's digitized and hacker hacks, but hacker dies in the process because that's how this show works.
People do their thing and then die.
Yeah. And Courier's already done his thing. He's on fucking borrowed time.
Yeah, he did his thing, so he's done.
I like this show, but the conclusion it's got me a little nervous. I think it'll be fine at the very least. Like, it's just overall, it's fine, and that's what I'll say about most of the list. Everything's fine. Nothing's bad. Nothing's great though. Everything's just kind of middle of the road. Solid 7.5s out of 10. I would agree with that, but I would also say Assault Lily is definitely on the lower end.
Assault Lily is like a 5.5.
That is what I would give it as well. But like that's the lowest on the low end. Although Fire Force was pretty good, but we knew Fire Force was pretty good.
It was. That I think was probably the highlight for me. I think I gave Fire Force anime of the season last season too.
Because it's good. Like, it's just so good. But it's
Higurashi,
over.
I'm still waiting for the payoff for.
Yeah.
I'm like, was this a waste of my time, or was this ingenious expanding upon the story?
Higurashi is one that could be made or just completely shattered.
It's supposed to be 2 core, though, so I don't think we're going to get that answer soon.
No.
But next up, we have the final episode of Wandering Witch, The Journey of Elena. Which, you know what? It was a fine conclusion. It was fine. Like most things, it was fine. Yeah, Journey of Elena only had one real bad episode, I think, out of the whole show, and it was just the time travel one.
I would agree, and
because I actually really liked the previous 2 ones about like the Curio Company.
Yeah, those were a lot of fun. The Curio Company made for some fun bad guys, and it was nice having a little bit of a plot line that stuck around for more than one episode.
And in this episode, we get to see the only person Elena's truly gay for is Elena.
Which should surprise no one.
Considering her tagline is, "Who is that beautiful girl with the ash hair flying through the sky?" Oh,
every time.
It's me.
Oh, it was me. So
Elena.
Yes. So essentially, Elena finds a country that grants wishes.
Yep.
And she flies into it saying exactly what you would expect. Please make me rich.
Yep. So she flies into the country, and as she goes there, you see all the places she's visited before are all filling the place.
Yeah, it's full of familiar landmarks.
The clock tower from the time travel episode. It has the castle from the Crazy Princess episode.
It's got the wine stomping barrel.
Yep, Fran's treehouse.
All that.
So she goes to the castle. That's her first place to think of to go.
And guess who's there waiting for her?
Elena with glasses.
Elena with glasses, also known as Intelligent Elena.
Yep, and she asks her, "Are you a good or evil me?" Which
is a weird question to get right off the bat.
But
and she doesn't really give an answer to it. She's like, I'm the me version of me. I don't know.
And she's like, all right, that's good enough. And she takes her to a room where she's like, all right, so far there are 16 of us in total. Let me introduce you to all the other Elenas. And they're literally one-note characters that have a single personality trait.
Yes. There's Zetsubo Elena, who's sitting under the table.
There's 3 of them. In fact, they share a personality trait.
Actually, those three are different. There's Cowardly Elena, there's Zetsubo Elena, and then there's I don't know what to call it, but she hates everyone else. The
And
one who just wants everyone else to die.
and then there's on top, sitting up at the table, there is money. There's two ones that are obsessed with money. One is the greedy one, and one is one that they're basically the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but
They're
one
just
has a
addicts
big
to
bag
it.
of money.
Yeah, one is a big bag of money. One is all about money. One is stupid.
Yeah, she's just dumb.
Yeah,
She's like klutzy dumb.
and she's drooling. One has her feet up on the table, and she's the tough guy, Elena.
I did like there's Chuny Elena that I wish had more screen time.
Yep, with her medical eye patch.
She says that the demon within her eye is trying to break free so it can kill everyone.
There's the Elena who loves girls.
Also known as the Elena who loves Elenas.
And then there's the Elena who actually loves Saya. And then there is
Big titty Elena.
Big titty, who doesn't actually have big titties.
With quotation marks.
Yep.
Big titty complex Elena.
Which is just a weird, like, that's this in person's entire character trait from their universe.
Yes.
That's the one thing they got.
I had a feeling.
Imagine you show up to a world of like other parallel universe U's, and you had to have one gimmick that you just like, hi, I'm Ian with a pen. I carry a pen around everywhere. This is my pen. Did anyone see my pen? Check out my pen. I write with my pen.
It's very cool. Anytime anyone brings up anything, he's like, hey, do you need a pen to write that down?
It's like, oh, who's that? That's the you who has a pen and lets everyone know that he has a pen. That's his entire gimmick.
That would make me so fucking sad if my personality was like broken up into all these different parts and complexes, and one was there who was like, my gimmick is I have a pen. I'd be like, oh man, that makes me sad. You fill me with sadness, other version of me.
That's the best you could get.
You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel with this one.
And then they had Elena, who is a ghoul.
And Elena, who is a slime.
And then they had Elena, who is a foreigner, but she's just Russian and only says one thing.
Yeah.
And she does the hat dance, so...
I guess that's the version of Ian with a pen. This is Elena, but she dresses like a foreigner.
Way to break down Russian culture, too, to just... They do the hat dance.
Yeah, they've got those funny hats, and they do that dance where they squat and they do the kicks. That's Russian, right?
That's all Russia really has.
That is something that they have. I wouldn't say it's all they've got, but whatever.
It's like breaking down and that's the American one. It's just a shotgun and a cheeseburger.
Dude, holy shit.
With sunglasses.
That would have been I would have preferred that a lot if if one of the Elenas is just sitting at the table fully strapped wearing a cowboy hat eating a burger. I'd be okay with that. I love the American stereotype. It's great.
One of us needs to learn how to draw because I had a really good idea for a manga.
Okay.
Moe Cowgirls.
Say no more. I am already on board 6,000%.
It needs to be done. There's so much possibility.
You can do anything you want with Moe Cowgirls. It's like the possibilities are limitless. You could even have like famous Moe versions of historical cowboys and Wild West figures show up. You could have fucking Annie Oakley.
You could have Moe Wyatt Earp and Moe Doc Holliday.
Fuck yeah, dude. Let's have a Moe shootout.
Johnny Ringo.
Oh, I love it. Get Moe the Kid in there.
Moe Butch Cassidy.
Now I'm conflicted because Moe Butch Cassidy is also a very good episode title. I would want to do Moe the Kid as well, but that would just come across as Mo the Kid.
Yeah.
And that does not translate well to text.
Moe Jesse James.
Moe Black Bart. That'd be good shit. Can we just Moify everything? Can we Moify pirates next?
I think they've done that.
Damn. That's why we got to get on Cowboys, dude. It's only a matter of
that's
time.
our. They don't know enough about Cowboys, so it's like we could beat them to the punch on that.
That's our area of expertise. As Native Americans, we've got the Moe cowboy market.
As American natives.
That's true.
We are native to America, but we are not Native Americans.
We are natural Americans, naturalized Americans. I think that's the official government term for it.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Native Americans, you could have like Moe Geronimo, Moe Crazy Horse, Moe Sitting Bull,
Sitting Moe, Crazy Moe. Again, two names that just in text translate to Crazy Mo and Sitting Mo. I love it. I love this idea, though.
Elena.
I suppose.
There's evil Elena, and she shows up, violent Elena, and she is mad because she is the Elena that has just not been able to handle all the suffering that she's dealt with.
Yeah, this is PTSD Elena. How fun is that?
This is Elena who has actually, not been able to control her emotions.
I'm a little bit curious about this Elena story.
Also, she has the short hair, which is the cuter version.
She does. Because the way her journey is ordered, basically she does the time travel quest before the Ripper quest. So she's too weak to use magic to fix her hair. So she just goes around with short hair. Instead of like growing it out, I guess, because that's not an option.
But yeah, so she and Elena have a big fight, and Elena kind of gives her that whole spiel about how she's like, the evil Elena says that, oh, I must be here to inflict suffering upon the other ones because you all live your lives carefree and don't realize how much suffering that we ignore.
And she's not 100% wrong.
But Elena gives her some spiel about how, I don't know, that she's wrong. I forget her whole reasoning behind it.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, by the way, they decide to dub our Elena as Protagonist Elena because she is so bland and does not have one single
Which is
gimmick.
Weird, because instead I don't see her as bland. I see her as like, all right, she's not a one-note character where it's like, yeah, but do you have a pen?
But are you a slime? How do you feel about money? Nope. She is actually a character with depth and feelings, which I guess I'm kind of happy that the two most complex Elenas are the ones that end up fighting, but they fight until they run out of energy, and then Protag Elena is like, hey man, just don't be shitty, you know?
Yep,
that's fine. Yeah. You just don't have to be like that.
They hang out and they have after they tire themselves out because they're evenly matched because they're the same person, of course, they have a conversation about their journeys. And then they realize, hey, we should all share our notebooks, our diaries with each other.
So they do that. And then they all decide to come up with a title for it. And they do it together.
And all the stupid ones come up with dumb stuff, but then I'm assuming the smart ones actually put together the real title, which is, of course, Wandering Witch.
Who'da fucking thunk it?
And then Elena goes to sleep and sharing a bed with herself, the other one.
Which goes to show that every Elena is the Elena loving Elena.
Yeah, it's not gay, it's masturbation.
Just secondhand, with extra steps.
And she wakes up and she's in a empty field and everything's gone.
Yep. She discusses earlier that her wish was actually like to see how other
possibilities.
Roots, yeah. That's why all the other Elenas were gathered there too, because they all had the same wish.
They wanted to know about what it was like for the other ones.
Yeah. And then we get a hint at future plots in the final episode.
Yep, she ends up walking and some girl is busy reading a book and they bump into each other and both drop their books. And of course, they get exchanged.
And we learn that that girl's name is Amnesia and that the book she dropped was Read This in the Morning.
Yep, read this every morning. So I'm assuming now that girl's like, oh shit, I can't remember anything unless she starts to think she's Elena because she reads Elena's book.
That's what I'm thinking. She wakes up the next morning because she's 51st dates lady and reads Elena's book and is like, oh, I must be Elena. What could possibly go wrong there?
But yeah, who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows? This one wasn't confirmed for a season 2, right?
Not yet, but I assume we're kind of in an age where it happens more frequently now.
Yeah. And I've been racking my brain about it all freaking day. I saw somewhere that something we watched or something I watched is getting a season 2 that I was a little surprised by, and I can't remember what it was.
Inspector.
That's right. That's right.
Inspector somehow is getting a season 2.
I don't know how they managed it, but
because I think general consensus was everyone liked it, but they felt the Steel Lady Nanase arc was really long, which it is, in all fairness, and also it feels kind of dragged out when you're not able to read it at your own pace.
That's true.
But everything else, everything else is a lot shorter, so everything they're going to adapt after is kind of more like the sort of little arcs that they did before, like the one with Snake and stuff.
I think that'll do them a lot more favors.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it because I just got my Elena figure the other day.
You mean your Satoko figure? No, fuck.
Not Elena, Kotoko.
Kotoko, that's what it is.
Yeah, I got my Kotoko figure the other day. My pop-up parade Kotoko.
I seen it. You posted that on Twitter, didn't you?
I don't think I did.
I can't remember. I know I saw it.
I sent it to you through Snapchat, I think.
That's right. Figures.
But yeah, I'm glad that's getting a season 2. If Elena gets a season 2, I'll watch it.
I'm in the same boat.
I think I enjoyed reading it more than I enjoy watching it.
Yeah, because you can there's a lot more small stories you can get through, and you're not stuck with like the 5 they have to choose to do during the season.
And sometimes the bigger ones aren't as good, I feel like.
I can understand that.
Like the bigger ones are either hit or miss. Like sometimes I like the smaller ones just because they're, I don't know, I feel like they're better fit for Elena's character.
Yeah, because she's the traveler. That's her whole thing, is going around and experiencing all kinds of new stuff.
Yeah. But again, if it happens, I'll be down.
We'll watch it, but it definitely won't be podcast. That'd be fun times watching. What else?
I don't know if you know, we ended up taking Fire Force again because of how dead the season was that we took it last season.
And you know what? I'm glad we did because it's freaking great.
Yeah.
It's good shit.
You know it's not good shit? Assault Lily.
You're right. It's not good shit.
I don't really care.
I think...
Especially after knowing this is just set up for the gacha game, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So, Yu's going crazy, and everyone's going on about, like, how... I don't care about how the huge work. I just tune out every time they get into it.
I will say... The one thing this episode introduced was one thing that they kept having go on in the background that actually kind of maintained my interest, but they didn't focus on it. So I was like, no, show me more of that shit. That's what I want to see. And basically, Yu's old Schutzengel is fucking a Hannibal Lecter sociopath who could overwrite people's memories. Give me more of that. Give me more of that shit.
Yeah, so I guess, she was kind of a little crazy, and the only thing she cared about was Yu.
That's the story I want to see, but
and everyone has good memories of her because they are only able to remember what she has them remember.
Yeah, I like that. That's something I like a lot, and I think would actually be interesting and make for a much more interesting story instead of what we got.
But the huge end up attacking. They send, like, this weird triangle orb thing to essentially go to this area where it cuts off all Maggie, so no one can use magic and activate their charms.
Except for Riri.
Yep, just Riri.
Because they theorized that it could be Lily's with the charisma skill, but then they're like, no, but there's other ones. Which, by the way, no one has ever fucking talked about that before. No one's ever been like, yeah, there's like a whole bunch with charisma. I guess that just doesn't matter. whatever. I don't know. Riri goes to go fight the good fight, but first she finds Yu,
And
and
Yu's
Yu
going all
is
crazy, trying to turn on her lunatic trancer. And then she knocks her sword out of her hand because she's like, you can't even use Maggie right now.
your sword is shit because you can't put Maggie in it. And then she smashes her sword all to hell.
But don't worry, I'm going to go and save us and fight.
And she goes to do that.
And she'll be fine because it's the last episode.
Yeah.
It's too late to drop it. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
I don't care. Let's just finish it. Let's finish this shit for a gacha game we're not going to be able to play.
Yeah. Man, why is it that people need to write stories that have real cool shit in the background of it that they never focus on, and instead focus on the stuff that's kind of boring that I don't care about? Give me more my senpai's Hannibal fucking Lecter with mind erase powers. I want that. That's what I want.
Yeah, unless that's the big plot of like the mobile game, so they don't want to get too into it because they got to solve it in that.
I would almost guarantee it, because the way they set it up is like, or the way it seems like they're setting it up to me.
She's controlling the Huge, or she did something to make the Huge more aggressive.
Yeah, I think she's just straight up
which isn't going to be
controlling
solved in this single battle.
No. They're going to fight the monster, they're going to beat the monster, and then a businessman who's only shown from the neck down is going to show up, and that's where the gacha game's going to pick up.
Yeah, businessman shows up. It's like, this guy's in charge of the lilies.
What if it's a Gehenna operative? Like, what if it's now Gehenna is in charge? We got to work with Gehenna, and they sent over a master tactician. Doctor-san.
Have you played the latest Arknights event?
I have.
I like how they basically tell you that before the Doctor lost his memories, it's like, oh yeah, he was a cold sociopath.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
He was just the 4D chess master, didn't care about who he sacrificed.
I like that a lot. And we get to talk to W. We get to hang out with W and learn that W is pretty fucked up, but there's a reason.
Yeah, and she doesn't actually care about reunion.
Nope. Which I figured they would have something like that since she's going to be on the next banner. Yeah. Her banner's coming up real quick.
And I'm ready. I am ready for that gacha game, not this one.
Yeah, that's a good gacha. Just play Arknights. I would watch an Arknights anime. I genuinely have no idea what they would do for a plot or anything to keep it engaging, but I would still watch it.
I mean, they have a plot line that they can do. I think they're going to do it because I think the latest chapter on the Chinese server finished the whole reunion arc.
Oh.
So I think they're going to do, if they do an anime, they'll probably do it off of the first arc. Because, you have a lot of content there.
Yeah, I would watch the shit out of a reunion.
You have the Chernenbog incident, then you have the whole defense of Lungmen.
The defense of Lungmen is pretty cool.
That's also like 5 chapters.
You're goddamn right it is. Give me more Chen.
I think there's enough. They got definitely enough.
That'd be good. That would be a lot of fun. And I would watch it and I'd be like, yeah!
And then do the beach one as like an OVA.
That would totally work. Guys, we're writing this adaptation for you. All we ask is $75,000. And the idea is yours. You can just have it.
Yeah, we stole it. It's ours now, even though this is your plot that you came up with.
See, what we did, we're idea men. We come up with the ideas and we sell other people's ideas back to them.
You know who I'd like to sell an idea to?
Who?
Jun Mata.
Okay.
Because, I don't think The Day I Became a God is very good.
It is... Yuta is so fucking stupid that it
also, that
makes
was weird
me
that they just
angry.
set up this lady as like a villain. They just throw us her backstory like, I had a daughter, but then she had a disability, so then I want to save all these children, and that became my happiness. So I'm going to try to block them because that's my thing.
I don't understand where she's going or where she's coming from. Because, like, we get her backstory. Her daughter was all jacked up, and now she wants to help other kids. That I totally understand.
Yeah.
I do not understand why she's a villain suddenly.
Yeah, like I don't want her to go back with her family because just why?
In her defense, I would not want to send her home with Yuta either.
Specifically him, but even still, like she's like, you have the credentials to do that, but I'm gonna say no.
I'm going to say no because I need to be a bad guy. We forgot that we needed an antagonist for the rest of this.
Yeah,
Even
and
though they totally 100% did not.
Yuta's plan to get her to open up to him is to play video games, because remember, she really liked to play video games?
It doesn't go exactly as planned.
Because for some reason he is like, because Yuta's really stupid, so she's basically like a person with mental development issues, and he's like, all right, we're going to play this video game, and it's going fine. He's like, all right, just move the stick forward, and she does, and then she runs into a rock, and she keeps running forward into the rock. So instead of just being like, all right, now just move the stick to the side, he's like, oh, you're going to keep running into the rock. You have to move it all the way to the side, and scares her.
Like, Yuta is so goddamn stupid. It makes me so angry. Like
He's the reason it's taking more time just because he can't, like, not spurg out.
Exactly. He's getting in his own way. And
and of course, every time he, like, makes her cry, he gets kicked out.
Because that's what a reasonable health professional would do. But, like,
yeah, he's scary, isn't he?
That's another thing.
It's like, I don't think you're supposed to do that.
She doesn't do it before either. Like, that's something that just popped up this episode. Because before, when he would, like, be in the room and shout.
Oh, and she basically even tries to say, like, oh, that was the machine you were friends with. That wasn't really Hina.
Yeah. She takes such a weird, hard left into villain territory. It boggles the mind. I genuinely don't understand. Because that's all stuff that's not necessary. Because
no,
we get it.
It's kind of like, it's just to make it this whole part more dramatic.
And it doesn't work.
And then at the end, like, she figures out something's off about him and that he's not really a pharmaceuticals guy like he says he is. And then she puts everything together and looks at his reports, and she messages him. It says security, like, message from security personnel. Who are you? Instead of just, like, trying to stick to his lie, he just goes, I need more time, please. Like, what? Yeah. Just be like, what? I'm Dr. So-and-so. You have it on my report.
What a fucking dumbass. And all he does is he copy-pastes the reports and submits them. He doesn't even bother to, like, look at the reports themselves or even try to add that I'm also trying this experimental therapy that I think might work. Instead, he just copy-pastes the shit, which means that he gets found out instantly upon the slightest.
And someone reviewing like the report. Just,
hey, he's not doing that. He's doing other stuff. Something's wrong. Congratulations, Yuta. You are the dumbest goddamn person ever.
He's about to graduate. He's taken his college exams. You'd think he would know how to at least, like, write a simple lab report.
Yeah. It doesn't even have to be that complex. He just needs to write about...
Yeah, because it's like, oh, your lab report looks kind of messy. Well, it's my lab report.
It's just my style.
Yeah. Whatever.
Don't worry about it.
They're not there to judge, like, the quality of your lab report, just that it is a lab report.
Yeah, he's not, because he doesn't even really need to send it to that facility. He could just be like, it's how I write reports for my own pharmaceutical company. They know what I'm doing. They know my style.
It's stupid. And yeah, this is all dumb. This is a dumb plot. This is a dumb show.
I was fine with it up until this. They beansed it. They
really, and he said this is gonna be the saddest one.
The only thing sad about this is how sad it makes me that this character's a goddamn moron.
And and then he gets a call from everyone, and they're giving him encouragement, like, "Yeah, you go, be a man, bring Hina back."
Yeah, because we need that. And I think the only reason that the therapist woman brings up the fact that, nah, man, you just knew the machine, was so that she could trigger that moment for him to go outside so he could get words of encouragement from everyone. Oh, also the girl he's been after the whole time tells him that she loves him and Hina. That's also a thing that's just kind of casually dropped. Just is.
Remember when Izanami was the focus and now she doesn't matter?
And now she can confess to the main character through, I think, a phone call. And it's not like major revelation. It makes me mad. It makes me real mad.
Yeah.
Because I liked Izanami a lot. She had, in my opinion, the most genuinely sad story out of the entire show.
Yeah. And Hina's is just kind of weird, like, man, like, at least Izanami's where it's like, yeah, getting over the death of a parent can be very difficult. And then you got, getting over the fact that the girl that you like had her supercomputer taken out of her brain, and now she's trapped in a facility that is constantly monitoring you and keeping you from trying to snap her memories back. That's rough. Everyone goes through that.
And to be honest, she kind of should be at the mental state she's in. She kind of should be in that facility.
Yeah. It's like, it's almost like, don't worry, the power of love will fix it. And it's like, that's not how. Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about something else.
The last thing is Higurashi.
Higurashi. I like this show so far, at least. We'll see how things wrap up. But
so they get everyone to go to the Child Protective Services place, but of course they still are like, we're monitoring the situation. And then they end up going back to town, and it's the preparation for the Watanagashi Festival. So all of the town elders are going to be there.
And they're having a big old meeting.
Yep.
And Mion is like, everybody, let's just go on to the big old meeting.
But then they realize, hey, first they pull Mion aside to talk to her and be like, hey, you guys got to stop with this protest thing. We don't want to piss off the government because we're getting a lot of help from the government.
And then Mion goes back in after receiving that and is like, hey, Keiichi, we need to talk.
And then he goes outside, and then they talk to the teacher, and then he realizes, everybody, all the friends show up, and he's like, you know what? The problem is these old bastards. So you know what? Everyone in town forgives Satoko. They don't think she did anything wrong, but they're afraid to publicly forgive the Hojo family because, they don't want a target painted on their back.
And Keiichi is going to tear through fate like wet paper in his usual bullheaded fashion. So basically everyone goes back inside, and all the elders are like, hey, because Keiichi comes in, he's like, yo, motherfuckers. And then he flips a table and he pulls out an AK-47. He points at everyone. He's like, everybody get down on the fucking ground.
No, more like he goes in and they talk to the old people. And first they're like, hey, he's like, we need to do something about Satoko. And he's like, you guys should stand up. Just because the damn war's over doesn't mean our war's over. And they're like, you little shit. You little punk kid.
And then they use the old men's logic against them, which I actually kind of liked. I like that. Where basically they're like, you guys were all up in arms over the damn project because the government was stepping down on your democratic rights. And now
like, you guys are doing the same thing to us.
Exactly. I like how everyone gets involved. Like, Rena points out there's a plaque on the wall that basically states what happened. Mion and Shion chip in with their own little bits of dialogue. Everybody has a piece.
Yeah, and so they say their piece to them, and they kind of realize they're right, and they agree, like, all right, you kids are right. We want to help you, but we can't. We can't at least publicly come out and support you because we need all of the head families of the town to agree. And of course, the mayor agrees. Rika, whose family is one of the big families in town, even though she's like the only one left, agrees. Yep. But they need the Sonozaki family to agree. So Mion and Shion's grandma. And she was the most difficult to get to agree. So the mayor goes with them to go visit her.
and she's a cranky old bitch.
Yep. So they go in. It's the grandma, the cranky old bitch grandma, along with her yakuza goons, and Shion and Mion's hot mom.
Got more dirty laundry for you and your goons.
Yeah, dude. Shion and Mion's mom is like,
she's smoking, dude.
She's nice.
She's smoking.
So,
She
yes.
comes on to Keiichi later, and I'm like, dude, don't turn that down. You don't get a lot of opportunities like that. I don't care if you're in high school, dude.
They have this big fight over. Well, they have a big argument about why she should support them, and Keiichi essentially breaks it down to like, man, if you won't help us, you old bag, I'm gonna go over there and bash your head in.
Yeah, he threatens to kick shit out of and murder this old woman who is the head of a Yakuza family twice.
But they have a back and forth shouting match. Everyone kind of says their piece, and then they head out. And then after the mayor and Mion and Shion's mom come out, and they're like, well, she agreed. She liked you, Keiichi. You got a lot of spunk.
I kind of knew that was going to happen. Because you always got to have that thing where, like, the big tough head of the crime family encounters someone who talks mad shit.
The old person respects the youngster for being disrespectful to them.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because that's never happened at work for me.
No. That's not something you get over here or in the real world, I would say, very often.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when you're rude to people, they just turn into huge dicks.
Yeah, especially in most of this situation where, like, they convinced the entire town council to help them, and then after the old, like, Yakuza lady, I'm like, boomers don't do that. Boomers, when you give them any sort of evidence that they're wrong, just double down.
They double down super hard and lock in like some kind of steel safe.
Yeah, boomers that's just what boomers do. They'd be like, well, I'm wrong. Yeah, you are wrong. Here's the evidence why. Pfft, evidence. Facts.
Don't come at me with your facts and figures, you fucking youngster. I'm old. I've been around here longer than you. Don't need facts and figures.
But in this fantasy land, all the boomers agree.
What a true fantasy.
And,
getting a large group of boomers to agree to change their minds on anything.
Oh, and Oishi shows up too during the meeting and stuff, and he's just kind of watching, being like, let's see what you're made of, Mayabara.
I love how Oishi just walks in and sits down and watches everything, and no one acknowledges the fact that he's there.
I think he was supposed to be there just because they're planning the festival, and him as like the head of the police kind of is head of the security for the festival, so I think it's expected he'd be there.
I would hope so. But I do still think it's kind of funny that he's like, let's see what you got packing, Mayabara-san.
But yeah, so everything looks like it's going to be resolved, and the fact that this arc has kind of happened before means, and every single arc has been flipped on its head, means next week something's probably going to go wrong, and I'm pretty sure Satoko's going to kill Teppei.
Yeah.
Where it's like, she didn't need protection from Teppei. Teppei needed protection from her.
Watchman. What's
What
the
about
Watchman dude's name? I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Rorschach. She's going to have a Rorschach moment, and she's going to wreck Teppei. At first, I did think it was going to be the village bands together to kill Teppei, because there's a part at the beginning where some random dudes are fixing up a shrine, and they're like, yeah, Teppei came through here and just kicked it over and pissed in the Torii Gate. Like, bet you can guess where Oyashiro-sama's curse is going to hit this year.
Good old Teppei.
I just want to watch this man die. Is that too much to ask?
Go watch the original.
I will, actually. I have all next week off. So I'm going to do that.
You heard it here. If Ian doesn't binge all of Higurashi, the original, by the next episode, then everybody has permission to call him a bitch on all of our social medias.
You have permission to tag us on every social media, to call both my cell phone and my home phone numbers,
and his personal email,
as well as my personal email. I'll read that out.
You'll get his mailing address if you're a little old-fashioned.
Yep, you can send me letters calling me a bitch. You can spray paint the snow in my front yard so that every time I look out in the morning, it just says you're a bitch. And if you too want to call me a bitch or see if I am a bitch,
yeah, check out our social media. You can say it on there, on Twitter and Facebook at Protagonist Seat.
For both, we made it super easy.
Call Ian a bitch on YouTube. There's a comment section on there.
There is. That's the Protagonist Seat podcast on YouTube. We're also on various pod platforms. You can comment on some of those. You can comment on our Libsyn blog. You can call me a bitch on there.
There are so many places you can call Ian a bitch.
Yeah, make sure you stay tuned next week. I know you'll all be sitting, waiting patiently by your pod catchers to see if you can call me a bitch next week.
I sure hope they don't, because that means you watched it.
I will watch it. I will. I got plenty of time.
Or else I'm going to take that South Park bit like, Kyle's mom is a big fat bitch, except it's going to be, Ian is a big fat bitch. He's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world.
I will let you know as soon as I'm finished watching it. That's what I'll do. I'll make sure you're the first to know.
Tweet it and I'll retweet it. I'll make sure everyone sees it.
I will no context tweet. I am not a bitch. Hashtag Ian watched Higurashi. That will be my tweet. And everyone will know.
He's committed to it now. Get ready, guys.
Yeah, now I have to actually write this down to make sure I remember to tweet that. Because I will watch it, but I will totally forget to make tweets. I like tweeting out of context things on my Twitter sometimes. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that we're done. We are done.
Because no Fire Force means we finished a little bit quicker. Maybe. I don't know.
Kind of. We were recording for a couple minutes, so that timer is not 100% accurate.
Right.
But thank you all for stopping by. Class dismissed.
Merry Christmas. Padoru, padoru.
Merry Chrysler. And then fuck it.